got these two right next to each other. They're both getting the 4th round of the season. And on top of that, we also got a little bit of dollar spot breakout in here. Not as bad as it used to be, but we're gonna be spraying for that as well. And I'm actually gonna show you guys how I go about doing 2 different apps at once. So real quick, let's go over the setup. I got my big tank right here, the Gregson's Clark SS200. That's been back there since day 1. Normally what I would do in the past is I would come out, run my round, and then another day I would come back and do my upsells after I rinse the tank and all that stuff. But now, I don't have to worry about that. I can actually do 2 at once because I have this tank right here with my round in it. And then for anybody who wants the extra stuff, I got that in this tank right here. This is the GCI Turf Carp Buddy 18 gallon. Now, can it be, is it meant for this? No, it's really meant for DIYers, but this is how I'm gonna use it today. And I'm gonna show you guys how that goes. So, first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and just start spraying the sides here with round 4, which I already know the question's coming up. Jake, what do you typically spray for round 4? Well, it's really simple actually. I'm just spraying 16-21-2 green pop. That's all I'm spraying. Normally I spray an amalgamation of things, but this round I want to keep it simple, especially given the fact that in another month we're going to be in aeration overseeding time. And it's nice to just have something in there that simplifies that process, because if anybody elects to do it, we already got the nutrients going down beforehand to help out with the area and the feeding. Now there are some additional things we can do as well, but that's a video for another time where we, what am I trying to say here? Where we can maybe come in with 2 additional applications on a 3 to 4 week window in addition to the program, just to help with the overseeding. Or you can keep it simple and just do the 1. But yeah, that's what we're running for overseeding. So Jake, what are you spraying for round 4? Well, it's actually pretty contrasted to what we've done for round 3. Normally on my other rounds, we do an amalgamation of things. Like you'll remember round 2, we did our grub control, we did a blanket weed spray. Round 3, we did 2600, 700, and dethatch all together in the same tank. And this round, we're taking a little bit of a different approach. Now, I say that because the only thing we have in the tank right now is 16-21-2 green pop. Like, that's it. That's all we have in there at 15 ounces per 1,000 square feet. That's all we're spraying out. Now, for the other tank, that's my fungicide mix. I'm actually doing a little bulletproof fungicide app too for these 2 lawns today. And as I was talking about earlier, whenever I want to do something like that in the past, before I had that second tank, I would always have to come out, do my round one day, and then another day when I'm not doing my round, I would have to come out and spray the lawn for the fungus with the exact same tanks. So having 2 tanks allows me to do 2 different mixes in the same day, which shortens the amount of visits, decreases the amount of visits, I should say. And that's very, very important to efficiency. So that's what we did here. I got a little bit of a leapfrog way I like to do this. So I just got done with that boulevard there. So now I'm going to shoot across here. Get this done. Now I could have went back there, and I probably should have, but I'm gonna go back there one way or another. I'm actually gonna try something a little different. Normally I have to park in 2 different places, but I'm also trying to reduce the amount of parking I have to do. Hey! Okay, that area's done. Section 2. Okay. Now we're getting ready to do the fungicide treatment. All right. Now we're getting ready for the second application on both of these properties, which is the fungicide. So I got a whole nother tank for that. And I gotta say, I love that. Love that. So I'm actually gonna get started on the far side first. Then I'll make my way over here, over to the other side, kind of like I did on the last one. Now I don't have as much hose as I do on my big boy, but I do have enough. I do have enough to get this done. Go ahead and kick that on. So, got a little outbreak of dollar spot on both of these properties, so I'm spraying for that. So for the fungicide treatment, we're doing two things. We're spraying out azoxy, strobin, and propiconazole 14.3%. Now the reason we're spraying them together is because they both have two modes of action, which means if I were to use one of these repeatedly over a long period of time, the fungus, while it may stop in the beginning, will develop resistance to that same class product, if you will. Whereas when we mix two together, or we rotate back and forth between two, we have the ability to, you know, save, if you will. Anyway, I'm just gonna do this in one large swath. I'm gonna head over here and do the other side. So anyway, as I was saying, you have two classes in the tank here. And what's cool about that is it creates like a bulletproof effect, if you will, for the fungus. Because when you have two modes of action working at the same time, it's almost impossible for that fungus to come back. So that's why we're running two classes at the same time. All right, I'm doing the fungicide treatment right now, and one thing I'd like to clear the air on is something that's different with this one in relation to the last application we did. So, as I mentioned, GPM is lower, and I can't get it any lower than it is, and because of that, the only way I could spray this way. So a couple things are different. The GPM is way different. The overlap is different. The walking speed is different. Everything is different this time around. I'm throwing literally tip to tip on these passes. Normally I like to keep it 50%, but given how I can calibrate this, I'm limited. So I'm doing tip to tip. Because really, when you use the spray buddy, you want to have a higher volume of water coming out. So I am taking a gamble doing it this way. Like, this is honestly lower than what they recommend running. So I'm taking a chance on that. And that's okay. That's totally okay. It's not a problem, as long as we overlap just slightly. See? Just like that, we're done. All done. Because my overlap wasn't even 50%. It was literally just edge to edge on that. And that's not my favorite way to do it. Because when I first got started, when I was first being trained on the skid sprayer, I tried it that way and I striped up a lawn. It wasn't too bad, but I just don't like striping things. So whenever I do fertilizer applications, I always try to keep an overlap of 50%. And I know some of you are like, well, why would you do that? It's going to double your time at the property. And I'm like, well, I want it done right. There's really not that much to it. I want it done right. And if it's not done right, the customer's not going to be happy. So basically, when I do it right. To me, that's very important. This video is brought to you guys by the fine folks at Horizon 360. Guys, if you run a small business, you own a small business in the green industry, it is a good idea to have a good CRM, and that is exactly where Horizon 360 comes into place. Horizon 360 allows you to handle everything from customer acquisition to customer retention. You have the ability to send out mass emails and invoices on the spot, just like that. Speed is everything in 2024. You have the ability to dispatch your trucks, your crews, see what they're doing. And you also have the ability at the end of the workday, the work week, work month, to collect financial data that you can use to make smart decisions to pivot your business moving forward. Their core plan is free to you. It gives you all the fundamentals that you need to cut down the chaos in your small business. But if you want something a little more live, something a little more detail-oriented that's going to allow you to track your crews and do all of that fun stuff, then I highly recommend trying out the paid plan. I actually have a treat for you guys. If you use coupon code H360JTLK at checkout, that'll give you your first 3 months of any of the top tier paid plans free, so you can dip your toes in the sand and try out Horizon for yourself. Horizon 360, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. So our target weeds: dandelions, clover, nutsedge, and crabgrass. Those are our targets, that's for sure. By the way, I have a lot of people asking me about bentgrass. This whole area used to be bentgrass, if you'll remember from my kill-off series I did. And as you can see, it's already starting to come back. This stuff is really gnarly, like it's relentless. And really the only way to keep it at bay is to stay on top of it with tenacity. So yeah, we're gonna have to get in touch with them about that and see what they want to do. But yeah, I killed it all off, and as you can see, it's starting to come back. Honestly, to be expected. To be expected. I'm not surprised by that. I knew that was gonna happen. If there's one thing I learned about bent grass and creeping bent grass, it's that you can't guarantee you'll get rid of it, but you can keep it at bay if the customer is willing to pay for it. So that's what I can't say about bent grass. See, like there's more of it over here, but I never killed it over here, so it's just gonna be here. I mean, if you ask me, I just leave it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Just leave it. It's not gonna hurt anything. See, a lot of nutsedge in these areas. And I just get them till they're wet. By the way, this is the flow zone cyclone, not the typhoon, the cyclone. Now, I honestly don't know the difference between the two, but both are really, really good sprayers. I got a interchangeable wand on this. I could actually put a blanket wand on if I wanted to do blanket apps, which I might have to on yards where I can't reach with that hose. But fortunately, a lot of the yards, see, look, there's more bent grass coming back right there. It's got to be killed again. There's some foxtail in here too. Just getting it all. Getting it all. Whoa. And up here is where a majority of our weeds are. We got spurge, crabgrass, All of that right here.
My mom wants to know how long before the dog can go on the grass.
24 hours.
Alright.
So you guys are probably going to have to walk them unless you have something you could go on in the house.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so far I'm not seeing anything. More in this lawn than the one next door because I'm on year 1 for this property right here. And the other one next door, I'm on year 3. And I can tell you right now, year 3. Okay, last up, we're gonna spot spray some weeds. I'm gonna go ahead and get that rolling here. So our target weeds: dandelions, clover, nut sedge, and crabgrass. Those are our targets, that's for sure. By the way, I have a lot of people asking me about bentgrass. This whole area used to be bentgrass, if you'll remember from my kill-off series I did. And as you can see, it's already starting to come back. This stuff is really gnarly, like it's relentless. And really the only way to keep it at bay is to stay on top of it with tenacity. So, yeah, we're gonna have to get in touch with them about that and see what they want to do. But yeah, I killed it all off, and as you can see, it's starting to come back. Honestly, to be expected. To be expected. I'm not surprised by that. I knew that was going to happen. If there's one thing I learned about bent grass and creeping bent grass, it's that you can't guarantee you'll get rid of it, but you can keep it at bay if the customer is willing to pay for it. So that's what I can't say about bent grass. See, like there's more of it over here, but I never killed it over here, so it's just going to be here. I mean, if you ask me, I just leave it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Just leave it. It's not going to hurt anything. See? A lot of nut sedge in these areas. I just get them till they're wet. By the way, this is the flow zone cyclone, not the typhoon, the cyclone. Now, I honestly don't know the difference between the two, but both are really, really good sprayers. I got a interchangeable wand on this. I could actually put a blanket wand on if I wanted to do blanket apps, which I might have to on yards where I can't reach with that hose. But fortunately, a lot of the yards, see, look, there's more bent grass coming back right there. It's got to be killed again. There's some foxtail in here too. Just getting it all. Getting it all. Whoa. Then up here is where a majority of our weeds are. We got spurge, crabgrass, all of that right here. Okay, so far I'm not seeing anything. More in this lawn than the one next door because I'm on year 1 for this property right here. And the other one next door, I'm on year 3. And I can tell you right now, year 3, it's amazing with the 2 extra seasons, the difference between the 2 really shows. So it just goes to show, you know, lawn care really is a patience game. It's not always a miracle application that's going to get the job done. So, there's that. Anyway, so that bent grass over there that I just showed you guys, there's no permanent solution for that. Like, if I were to leave that alone for 2 or 3 years, that whole area is going to be overtaken by it again. So the only way that we can control it now is just to maintain the control that we've obtained when we sprayed it last year and reseeded those areas. Now, quite frankly, if I could go back, I would have done that way differently. I'm just saying that right now. I would have sprayed that with tenacity, probably would have cost a little more, and then I could have overseeded in the fall instead of killing it off and doing a whole thing. Like, I could have done it in a way that wasn't as strenuous as what I had to do there, but I elected to go the burn down route, so I did glyphosate, and it worked, and the new stuff looks good, but I really think there might have been an easier way to do it. But tenacity, although easier, is not the most cost effective. It costs a lot of money. So that's something to think about.